Hi, welcome once again to my YouTube channel, Dr. Quesero TV, and my show, Ask the Cheese Doctor. Today, we are giving the show number 30 plus, 34, 35, something like that. And this is the English version of my Spanish program at 9 New Zealand time. My name is Dietrich Truchsess, and I am the Cheese Doctor, and my scope is to teach every soul to learn how to make cheese. I graduated from the New Zealand Cheese School, and I am a cheesemaker. I'm also a civil engineer. I have two roles, but and this is my passion. Cheese making is my passion, and I try to teach um, everyone how to make cheese. Okay, people from around the world just connect every Saturday and to my channel, and I always talk about something related to cheese making, and I also answer the questions of my audience. Okay, and today we're gonna speak, and this week we're going to speak about the 10 steps that you must do when you make cheese. The 10 compulsory steps that you have to do when you are making cheese. If you don't do these steps, your cheese process might not be as expected. So I have some announcements to make. I want to thank Jose Rennet Martinez for being part of my membership program. By the way, last week I had 60 years old. I reached the sixth floor. So today, that and to celebrate, I'm going to include each person that has subscribed to my membership program, either on Patreon or in YouTube. I'm gonna give in 1 week of of my cheese making course for free. Okay, and I'm going to include as well in my Facebook group for a week, so you guys can learn how to make cheese. You can watch the video, and what you need to do is just email me at drquesero at gmail if you, of course, are part of the membership program. If you're not part of the membership program, you just have the membership program. And you can be for 1 month, doesn't matter. I have access to the platform, so you can watch all the videos for free. And you have 1 week. If you want to carry on in the course, you just pay the fee. Or if you want to make an arrangement and pay on monthly basis, you can do it as well. Okay, so I will just email me drquesero at gmail.com, and I will give you access. Of course, you have to be part of my membership program, as I said before. Okay, subscribers, we are now 19,000 subscribers, but exactly 19,067 subscribers. Thank you to you all. Without you, I wouldn't have any show. So, spread the voice that I exist. As I said, my scope is to teach anyone to learn how to make cheese. Gavin Weaver is from Australia. He also teaches us how to make cheese, but I also teach for the Spanish community, but also an English community, because I speak both languages. So if you want to learn how to make cheese, you're in the right place. Okay. I am developing a new cheese, and this is a special cheese from Venezuela. It's called palmita cheese. It's a cheese with a lot of holes, but use pasteurized milk. In general, this cheese is made with unpasteurized milk, and it's a fresh cheese, which is illegal, eh? So, but in Venezuela, there is no many sanitary controls. So, the cheese is made with raw milk. The cheese is manufactured with raw milk, which is not good. I developed a technique how to make it with pasteurized milk, and I put a secret formula of lactobacteria. It's a combination of 3 or 4 bacteria, and the cheese comes with a lot of holes with using Propioni shermani, which is a bacteria that make holes, but it's a different. I mean, it's the right amount, is the and well, it's a technique. All is in the kit. the kit has include videos, so you can do everything just watching the tutorials. It's very easy and it's very cheap. It's less than $30. Okay, so it's gonna be soon in Amazon USA, and you can have it over there if you want to make this type. Videos. I'm working in 2 videos. I'm gonna make Emmental cheese. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you how to make Emmental cheese, and I'm just expecting a small amount of raw milk, and we're gonna make Parmesan style cheese. It's not gonna be the authentic Parmigiano Reggiano because this cheese is only from Parma, but it's gonna be a Parmesan style cheese. So soon I will be making this video and I'm going to release it so you guys can learn how to make this type of cheese. Okay. Another thing that I want, another plan that I have is I'm going to post from the audience the cheese that you guys are making. For example, if you make brie or camembert, or you made a mozzarella, it was beautiful, and you're very proud of it, send the photo, and I will put it in my channel so we can comment on the cheese. So the idea is that, and I'm going to evaluate your cheese as well. Just send me an email to drquesero@gmail.com, and with the name of the cheese, your name, of course, your country of origin, and a brief description of your cheese, and I will talk about the cheese. I will comment on it. I'll give you my personal opinion, and then we can share all this information together and let the other people from the audience that you made cheese, and well, it's just to interact between each other within the audience. Okay, that's it. Let's start. As I said, our show lasts only 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more, because I have to answer some questions for the audience. If you have any questions, be my guest. You can ask whatever you want, and if I know the answer, I will respond, and will be very delighted to respond to. Okay, so let's start with the presentation. I'm going to share the screen and talk about the 10 steps. I don't know if I'm going to have time to explain all the 10 steps, but otherwise we carry on next week with the and of course I will make a brief before carry on with the rest of the class. But today let's see where we can go. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Here we are. I hope I have good audio. So right. Okay, let's go and let's start. My computer is a little slow, but doesn't matter. it will get there. Okay, this is program number 34. See, the 10 compulsory steps that you have to make when you make cheese. When you make cheese, you have to take these steps. Of course, some of them you can obviate. You can delete if you don't, depending on the type of cheese that you're making. But and I'm going to explain you which are these steps. Okay. But first of all, before we start, if you want to join to my membership program, you just go to my channel, click on the join button, and you will be part of my if you want me to carry on doing videos like this one and streaming like this one, you can support us. It's only $3 or $4 per month in this apoyo category. It's the first category, in the cheapest. By joining the program, I'm gonna give you 7 days of free access to my cheese making course for beginners as a bonus. Okay, so this is only because I'm celebrating my 60 years old, and I want to do something for you, for my audience. Okay, this you just go after clicking on join. It's gonna the platform is gonna take you to this program. Join, grab the cheapest, which is $3.99. Okay, and you will be part of my program for a month. After a month, if you want to leave, it's all right. If you want to carry on supporting us, I would appreciate it. Okay, I will thank you for that. Okay, let's go. Let's start. When we make cheese, we have to, as I said, to accomplish 10 steps, which are the basic ones. The first cheese, the first one is what we have to do is pick up the right amount, the right milk. To make cheese, we need cheese, we need milk. Otherwise, we won't be able to make any type of cheese. What type of milk do we have to use? My grandson is here. Wait, I'm going to introduce you to my grandson. This is my grandson Joaquin. Okay. Yeah, I'm in the middle of the show. Never mind. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. But this is a live, and my grandson is just playing around, and well, he just came. Doesn't matter. I really enjoy when he's here at home. Okay. As I was saying, to make cheese, you need milk. What type of milk you can use? Any type of milk, of course, depending of the recipe that you are making. You can use sheep milk. You can use goat milk, cow's milk. The point is that this milk needs to be pasteurized, okay? Can be homogenized or non-homogenized, but you cannot use ultra pasteurized milk because what you're gonna get is ricotta. Because but this is another program. What sorry, why you can use ultra pasteurized? Because you're going to degrade by ultra pasteurizing the milk, the protein gets denatured too much. But that's another program, okay? So my advice: use milk. What we have to do? So we have to use, as I said, any type of milk. Why do we do with the milk? Okay, if we're gonna use milk, we have to create the conditions for the bacteria into the milk to grow. But because we are using raw milk, or if we are using pasteurized milk, as I said, we have to create the conditions. If we are using raw milk, we already have the bacteria into the milk because the milk is raw. It comes from the over of the cow, and the milk, all the lactic bacteria are native into the milk. They're native into the milk. So they are, I would say, from the factory. Okay, so if you are using pasteurized milk, all the lactic bacteria dies in the pasteurization process. So we have to go to the next step, which is inoculate the milk to produce acid, and this is the second step of the process. Okay, we don't need, as I said before, lactic bacteria when we are using raw milk. But if we are pasteurizing the milk, we have to inoculate the milk back again with these lactic bacteria that have died. So we put a new lactic bacteria. What type of bacteria acid? What type of we call it lactic culture. What type of lactic culture are we going to use? It will depend on the type of cheese that we are making. For example, we have. I'm going to say this in two sentences. We have two types of lactic bacteria. One bacteria that works or that reproduce at low temperatures, and one bacteria that reproduce at high temperatures. Okay, depending on the type of cheese that you are making, you can use either one or the other one or both, but it will depend on the recipe that you are applying. This bacteria feed from the lactose of the milk, because the milk has four basic elements, which is fat, protein, lactose, and minerals. So these bacteria feed from the lactose of the milk, which is the sugar, and they start producing acid. This acid will lower the pH and will make the milk more acid. And depending on the type of bacteria that we are using, we get different levels of acidity. And um, after we have the bacteria inoculated, when we use this bacteria, is this bacteria is normally or is usually this bacteria is usually slept. Okay, is she's sleepy, she's lazy because it's maintained into the freezer, and when we put it into the milk, we have to wait for the bacteria to wake up. That's why we have to create the environment for the bacteria to wake up. And what do? We heat the milk and we wait time. We usually wait for 1 hour at the right temperature of the bacteria, in this so the bacteria can wake up, and when she's awoken, she will start feeding from the lactose and producing acid. Okay, this is the how the process should be. That's the reason that when we are putting the bacteria, when we are inoculating the milk with the lactobacteria, we have to wait for 1 hour. Okay, after 1 hour, the bacteria must be awoken, but she's still lazy. Okay, so but after that, we go to the next step, which is the coagulation of the milk. For the coagulation of the milk, remember the bacteria is still lazy, but we're gonna wait for another hour, so the enzyme that we're going to that we're going to put into the milk can make possible a coagulation. So what we do is the next step is coagulate the milk, and with other product called Rennet. Rennet is an enzyme that comes from the baby calf stomach. Okay, and this enzyme is called renin chymosin. Okay, so this enzyme, they split the molecule of the protein in smaller pieces, talking in simple terms. Okay, and by breaking the protein, the protein molecules in smaller chains, the milk start coagulating. Okay, they start to coagulate and will become like a gel, like yogurt. Okay, when and this is the third step of the coagulation process. So these molecules of proteins formed like a structure where the called micelles, which is this part here. Eh? This is one micelle. We call it micelle. This is one micelle, and this is another micelle. Between both micelles, there is it's gonna be a bond of calcium. And at the beginning, when we coagulate the milk, we have a lot of calcium into the milk, and all these micelles are bound together. Okay, and as I said, I'm speaking in simple terms. I don't want to go so deep because it's not the scope of this presentation. If you want me to go deeper, you need to take the cheese making course for beginners, and I explain in more details how it happens. Okay, so but in general terms, this micelle is bonded or is joined by the other one by a bond of calcium here. It's a joint of calcium. Okay, and this milk will become like a gel, and after that we have once the milk is coagulated. By the way, when we are coagulating, we put this enzyme, and we have to wait for another hour to allow time for the enzyme to work into the milk to coagulate it. This time is usually 1 hour, or might be less depending of the amount of rennet that we put. If we put too much rennet, our cheese will become bitter. So we have to be careful. To coagulate the milk, we can use many types of rennet, or two types of rennet: animal rennet or vegetable rennet. We also can coagulate the milk by adding acid directly. Instead of waiting for the bacteria to produce acid, we can add the acid artificially. In general term, chemically, we can add a lemon, we can add vinegar, okay, and we don't have to wait for the bacteria to produce the acid that we need to make the cheese. The thing is that when we use the bacteria also gives flavor to the cheese because they produce enzyme, other type of enzymes that change the flavor of the cheese along the way. So, but coming back to the subject, once we have our milk coagulated, okay, and we have the gel, we have all the moisture, all the water of the milk is still there. So we have to start releasing this water. Sorry, releasing this water and making the cheese more drier. Um, Making cheese is like a controlled dehydration of the milk. This, in simple terms, is what cheese making is. So once we have our milk coagulated, we have to release the water. How? We cut this curd. We call it curd. This coagulated milk is called curd. And to allow the curd to expel the whey, we have to cut it in pieces. Generally, we cut it in squares. Okay, and this is the next steps, which is the cutting. We cut it in squares like this. So if we have our pot or our vat, whatever, we use a knife and cut it in stripes in one way. Boom, like this. Okay, we cut it, and then we cut it in the other way, like this. Boom, boom. In this way, we have only stripes. And then after that, we just start stirring and we cut horizontally. In this way, we are making squares. Now, I ask you a question. Why we cut in squares? Why don't we cut in triangles? Why don't we cut in hexagons or in rectangles? And make a comment here and let me know. But I'm going to tell you anyway. We cut in squares because one square has 6 sides, and all the 6 sides are going to be draining whey. If we cut in triangles, one triangle has only three sides, and the curve will be releasing whey only by 3 sides. So we cutting in squares because first of all it's easier, and secondly because six sides are increase the drainage area, and the curve will be releasing whey with a bigger flow. Okay, so by cutting like this, we allow the curd to expel the whey, and at the beginning the curd is going to be very soft and very delicate, and we have to handle it with care. But meanwhile, when the curd start releasing whey, she will shrink and will become more compact. Okay, and will be easier to handle. So and after that we pass to the next step, which is the cooking. Cooking what does you can if you want, depending on the cheese that you are making, you can avoid step number 5. You don't have to cook the curd if you don't want to. Cooking, what it does is to speed the drainage of the whey. Okay, by cooking and raising the temperature improve a process called syneresis. The syneresis is a process where the curd expels the whey, and by cooking the curd, what I mean by cooking is increasing maybe 10 between 10 5 or 10 degrees. It's not a cooking that you're gonna cook the cheese at 200 degrees. No, it's only reaching or raising the temperature to put an example, from 40 to 45. This is what we call cooking in cheese making. So we also call it scalding the curd. And by scalding or by cooking, what we're doing is just allowing the curd to get more temperature, to increase its temperature, and to release more whey until we find the right texture. But also by cooking, we are also beside allowing the curd to expel the whey, we are also allowing the bacteria to reproduce. And cooking will change the texture of the curd, will become shrinker, but by increasing the heat, will also allow the bacteria to reproduce and to increase the level of acidity. So, but in this step, before we drain the whey, which is the next step, we have to reach two things. We have to reach the right texture and the right acidity. This is very important when we are making cheese. We have to reach the right texture and the right acidity. But generally, they don't come at the same time. Generally, they usually come when we get the acidity first and then the texture. Sometimes we get both at the same time, but you have to be very lucky. Or you have to have your process very controlled so you can, and the milk has to be very standard. But generally, you just reach one at a time, not both at the same time. What you have to do, if you get your acidity before, you have to stop. You have to if you're gonna get your acidity before, or you get it before you get the texture, you have to slow down the acidification of the milk. This is another process that you have to do. If you haven't reached your acidity yet, but you have the right texture already, you have to stop stirring and allow the curd to so you have to stop stirring, let the curd to go down the vat or down the pot that you are using, and you have to allow the curd to gain acidity within time. So you have to wait to allow the whey to reach the right level of acidity. Once you have both, you can go to the next step, which is the draining of the whey. How to drain the whey? Very easy. How to drain the whey, I'm going to tell you in the next program, because now we are over time and we have to answer the questions of the audience. So let's go back to the questions, and if you have any question, you can go and ask me. But I'm going to carry on with this topic next week. Okay, so you can carry on. I'm going to make a brief review anyway when we make the I'm gonna give a review next week of what we saw today. But anyway, we're going to make carry on next week with the program. Okay. So now let's ask the question from the audience. Let me see. Okay, this question is in Spanish. You have to go to the Spanish program. I'm not answering the question today because it has to be in English. Okay, sorry about that. Thanks for coming anyway, Fabio. Okay, thanks for coming anyway. Okay, but this program is in English. Okay, let's go with the questions here of the audience. Let me go and finish here. I have here questions that people have made. She said here, Norm Fox is asking, thought I am a relative newbie to making cheese. I have had very good luck and success making a variety of cheeses. Yet I'm still intimidated with mozzarella and provolone. The precise pH for stretching, as well as the method for stretching, is what keeps me catching me out. I purchased a heat-resistant glove, but it is extremely difficult for me to navigate the digits successfully. Can you steer me towards a Pro for Dummies recipe? Look, I have Norm. I have in my channel a video about making provolone. I made a provolone cheese, and this is the recipe. I had the recipe over there, and it's in English as well. It's in 5 languages. It's in English, it's in Hindi, it's in Chinese, and Arabic and Spanish. Spanish is my first language, but anyway, you can watch the captions in English and you will be able to make them the provolone. But the thing is, to make provolone, in general terms, provolone and mozzarella at the first stages of the cheese making process, they're more or less the same. For provolone, you have to make mozzarella and ripen it. Okay, let it dry and let it ripen, and the mozzarella will get drier, and it will start to proteolyze and to lipolyze, and will change flavor along the way. So the thing is, but to get the skirts to stretchy, you have to have, as I said before, the right texture and the right level of acidity. It will also depend on the right level of calcium. When you are using raw milk and you pasteurize it, when you pasteurize it by the long-term method, you will heat the milk at 63, to put an example, and wait for half an hour. And in this pasteurization, the milk will lose calcium. You lose calcium when you pasteurize the milk. The thing is that if you over pasteurize the milk, you're gonna lose too much calcium. And there is another thing that you need to know, that when you are acidifying the milk, you also will lose calcium. The thing is that if you over pasteurize your milk and your level of calcium is too low, when you are acidifying the milk as well, at the end of the process, or when you reach the level, the bandwidth of the level of acidity, you're going to have your level of a very low level of calcium, and your curd will not stretch. That's one problem. So what to do if you are acidifying your curd using lactic cultures? It's a good practice to put a bit of calcium chloride only when you are acidifying with lactic cultures. Okay, use a little bit of calcium chloride. How much? Use 0. Half a milliliter of calcium chloride solution, 30% solution, per liter of milk. In other terms, if you are using 10 liters of milk, put 5 milliliters of calcium chloride solution at 30%. And acidify, get the curd, and keep the acidity of your curd in the bandwidth of the mozzarella. In this way, you shouldn't have any problem making the mozzarella because you raise the level of calcium. If your curd didn't stretch, it means that your level of calcium was all right when you were in the pasteurization process. So by raising the level of calcium, you're gonna have too much calcium into your curd, and your curd will not stretch. But anyway, don't worry about it. You can do one thing: just leave it there. If it didn't stretch, it's because it has a lot of calcium. So have a lot of calcium. Don't worry, or it's maybe dehydrated. But dehydration, your curd will not stretch either. So mozzarella is a tricky one, but once you have the experience, you will know what to do. Don't worry. If it doesn't stretch and you add the calcium chloride, don't worry. Just cover it with plastic film, leave it in the fridge, not in the freezer, leave it in the fridge for 1 or 2 weeks. So she will start to hydrate again and to proteolyze. The proteolysis will allow eventually the curd to stretch. So don't worry. You only have to be patient. So leave it there if it didn't stretch. Wrap it up with plastic, put it in the fridge, leave it for 1 or 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, start again, heat them up, put it in the microwave, heat them up. If it stretches, carry on with the rest of the curd. If it doesn't stretch, wait for another week until she stretches. Okay? This is how you should make the mozzarella. So sorry about I took a long time to explain the answer, but the thing is that mozzarella and provolone are tricky. So once you have your supply, your milk supply, you're pretty much confident, and this will not happen anymore. This is only at the beginning when you are picking up the milk that you are using. If you are, for example, if you are using raw milk and pasteurizing your milk, you will always use the same method of pasteurization, and your milk will not be over pasteurized, and you will not have this type of problem. So this is only at the beginning. So don't take me wrong. This is only at the beginning when you are making provolone and mozzarella. Once you have your milk and you already have your supplier, you just carry on with the same method all the time, and you will. If you know that the milk is always all right, you don't have to add calcium chloride. Just go carry on and do or maybe add a little bit, just to be sure, just in case. Okay, let's go with the other question. I don't. One more question, or maybe two more. Catherine saying here, I'm looking at my first cheese press. Can you please give me a recommendation? I'm just getting into cheese making, but I have a Jersey cow with a surplus of milk. I am needing a cheese press that will be durable and hopefully last a while. Okay, look, in my video, in my channel, there is a video of how to make a Dutch press. You can make two types of only the horizontal step, which is these are two tables. I mean, two pieces of tables, and you put the weight above it. So, but this is linear. So if you need 10 kilos, you need to put 10 kilos. If you need 20 kilos of weight, you need to put 20 kilos, and so on. But the Dutch press is better because it works with the gravity. This is the one that I use. In my channel, there is a video is how to make a Dutch press, and I'll give the drawings, everything. So it's very easy to make. I have all the drawings. I made the press during the video, and you only, for example, if you put 2 liter of water, because we use water as weight, because 1 liter of water weighs 1 kilo, so it's very easy to control. So in the Dutch press, by putting 2 liters of water, you can reach 10 kilos of weight, because it works by the principle of linear momentum. This is something in engineering, but I don't want to go so deep. The thing is that this press is very easy to make. Okay, watch it in my channel, how to make a Dutch press. I have 2 videos of how to make a press. Go over there, and you will be able to make the press. Okay, for sure. Okay, and let's go with another question here. Fito Flores is asking here, what option do I have to coagulate my milk so it doesn't change flavor that much? And the thing is, the question is in Spanish, and just translating simultaneously. Okay, and I want the way to mix it with fruits, because I want to think it, and yeah, because I think that the rennet has a chemical that can be dangerous for the health. Okay, look, when you are making cheese, Fito, when you are making cheese, unless you put too much rennet, your cheese will become bitter. Okay, if you put too much rennet, your cheese will become bitter. But I reckon this is the best way to coagulate your milk. As a matter of fact, many cheesemakers use rennet, vegetable rennet or animal rennet. We don't use lemon. Sometimes we use acid to coagulate the milk, depending on the type of cheese that we are making. If we are making, for example, cottage cheese, or if we are making paneer, which is a cheese from India, we use vinegar as well. But they don't give flavor. It's just milk, coagulated milk, or curd without any flavor. Indian people, they put curry to give flavor to this type of curd. We don't use curry, we use the same enzymes that the bacteria produce. They will produce, they will increase the flavor of the cheese. So, but unless you put too much rennet, your cheese will become bitter. But if you put the right amount of rennet, your cheese will not become bitter. So don't worry about it. Now, what happened with the whey? If you want to use the whey as well, my advice is, first of all, heat the whey, because you have to deactivate. If you believe that your rennet might be because it's chemical, I would say it's not a chemical, it's an enzyme that comes from the stomach of the baby calf. So it's an enzyme that is natural. But anyway, if you don't want it, doesn't matter. This enzyme, the chymosin, get denatured at 55 degrees. So what you have to do is heat your whey above 55 degrees, and this enzyme will get denatured. You won't have it anymore. So, and after that, you can use this whey to mix it with dough, to put it in salad, to prepare sauce, to make beverages. You can make smoothies with whey. One thing you can use, you know what you can use? You can use ricotta and mix it with a little bit of whey and fruits and sugar, and you will have a very beautiful smoothie with a lot of proteins. Okay, this is one secret that I'm giving you. Okay, that's it. Time is over. We are 42 minutes. Let's see. See you next week. Next week, we're going to carry on with this topic about the 10 steps for making cheese. I will carry on with this topic, and next week, the week after, we're going to carry on with another topic. As I said, if you want to support us in Patreon is patreon.com/Dr. Quesero TV, or in our membership program for YouTube. You just click on the join button, and that's it. And by doing that, I'm going to give you 7 days for free of my cheese making course for beginners. These are a lot of videos, about 46 videos that you can watch, and about 18 cheeses that you can make in my cheese making program. Of course, you're not going to see it in it's going to be very hard to watch it in 7 days, but at least you will have time. If you watch the videos a lot, you will be able to watch at least all the theory that I for cheese making, and it's for free, just for supporting us for 1 month. Okay, thanks for coming. I really appreciate you coming here, and see you next week. And as I always said, eat cheese, because life without cheese is like a love without a kiss. Bye-bye.
Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesos colombianos y venezolanos, todo hecho en tu casa, con sabor zuliano y calor humano. Los quesos en casa tienen vitaminas, rápidos de hacer en cualquier cocina.